Hello, good evening, and good morning to anyone wherever you are in the world. My name is Carly, and almost a month or two ago, I made a video about putting nylon strings on a Taylor GS Mini. And as I said, this guitar is a really amazing guitar. It's really well built, even for its size. It's got a very mighty sound and all that, and great construction. And I just decided that, I wasn't really feeling the steel strings. I couldn't do a lot of the finger picking stuff I liked, so I decided to put nylon strings, and I made a whole video about it. And to my surprise, it worked out better than I expected. But since 2 months has passed, I've got something to show you. And look, you would have already seen this in previous videos, but I got an actual classical guitar built by Ryoji Matsuoka, presumably in the year 2000. And this thing is an absolute workhorse, and it plays really amazingly. So has this changed my opinions on putting nylon strings on a GS Mini? Yes, it has. And it all comes down to the efficiency of the build. So this being a classical guitar, and a lot of people on internet forums say that Ryoji Matsuoka bases his models off like Jose Ramirez and all that sort of stuff. This is built very efficiently for the use. So it's got a very sensitive top. Like if I scream an note into it, then it resonates, and that saves it from sounding a lot like plastic. And ooh, whenever I play this in my ensembles and all that sort of stuff, it sounds like an actual guitar. Now, does the GS Mini sound like an actual guitar? Yes, it does. But what I found is that when I was at a friend's Christmas party and I was playing that guitar, it could not quite shoot over the sound of the piano. The piano was ultimately a lot louder than the GS Mini, and it could not really shoot over the sound of that unless I was really strumming hard like Billy Joe Armstrong. Now, with the ensembles that I'm doing for this term of my university studies, I am playing with pianos, and sure, I do have to attack the strings a little bit harder and dig in, but the sounds are really well balanced in that sort of thing. So it all comes down to efficiency. This is built very efficiently and very effectively for the use of playing an acoustic guitar in small chamber ensembles and all that other stuff. Now, the Taylor GS Mini was built for practice. So it doesn't take away from the fact that people use this for gigs. Like hell, Hayley Williams, one of my favorite singers, from Paramore, uses this guitar live. But when you put nylon strings on it, it's going to sound small. And it's going to sound quiet. Now, is it good for practice? Yes, it is. Is it good for trying out nylon strings? Absolutely. But is it good for gigging? This is where we get into a bit of a gray area, because I probably wouldn't use this for an acoustic gig, but if I was to put it into piezo systems, then it would sound okay. But since this guitar doesn't have a pickup system, there's not really any use for this anymore. And I already have a classical guitar there that I'm using for other gigs. So ultimately, I think I'm going to put steel strings back on this. This was really effective and really good for getting me onto classical guitar and seeing if I like the sound of and the feel as well of the nylon strings. But now that I already have a guitar that's efficiently and effectively built to serve that purpose for me, it's time to move on from these sets of strings. Now, I want to play some demos of some tunes by Dominic Miller and whoever else, just to show you the acoustic differences. I will be able to hear in the room the size of these instruments, but seeing as I'm filming on a phone here, it might compress, or YouTube might do something to it. But yeah, here we go. So I'm just coming from the editing room right now. Pretty much I forgot to explain the acoustic differences for those who cannot hear it. So pretty much the classical Ryoji Matsuoka guitar has a lot more bass and grandness to it, especially in bringing the volume up and all that sort of stuff. It's a really well built guitar for the way that it projects volume. Now, the Taylor GS Mini with nylon strings on it does not really reflect the same properties. If anything, it sounds quiet and dull. And in my opinion, the only time you'd really get a really good sound of it acoustically is just by plugging it into a piezo pickup. But yeah, back to the video. Now that I remember, it would be worth mentioning that the strings on both these guitars are D'Addario Pro Art normal tensions. I will be moving this guitar to like tensions very soon, just to combat a couple of like ergonomic issues I have. But this guitar has been working really well. I just want different strings. Now, another reason why I also want to put steel strings back on this guitar is for the purpose of gigs. I do think that if I put a nice K&A pickup under the bridge and just have it like go out with just a small jack, it will sound an amazing guitar. And there's people at my church and all that sort of stuff who use the same pickup system. I use the same pickup system on this classical guitar, but it's a bit different. You have to do a bit of EQ work to get it nice sounding, because there's a lot of like wobbliness that'll come out of like how vibrant the top of this is. So yeah, pretty much like I just have different demands. There are some songs that I like to play on steel string with a pick, and songs I like to play on classical with just my fingers. So that's pretty much it. So pretty much to cap it all off, putting both guitars into the shot, pretty much I prefer the actual classical guitar as my main guitar, mostly just because of the way that it's built and the way that it's efficient and is built for the nylon strings. This guitar, on the other hand, is built for steel strings and has that whole X bracing pattern thing, and is built to withhold the tension of steel strings. So there's no point putting low tension sort of like nylon strings compared to like the steel strings that are designed to tug onto the top of the guitar and make a big sound. Again, the classical guitars are built so that a mighty sound can be made with like just the tension of classical strings. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Please leave any comments or thoughts down in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.